it's Susie and Todd from Hey Grill Hey. Today we are here with Kingsford and Char-Griller for BBQ 101. We're gonna be talking about one of the easiest ways to improve your backyard barbecue game at home. It's all about temperature. Now, when we're talking about temperature, yes, your smoker temperature is important, the cook temperature is important, but the most important thing is
internal temperature.
100%, and that is the temperature inside of the food that you're cooking. Food safety reasons, of course, but also optimum flavor, juiciness, moisture, tenderness. If you've ever had an overcooked, dry, chalky chicken breast, temperature was the problem, and we're gonna walk you through how to solve that problem today. My favorite tool for checking the internal temperature of anything I'm cooking on the grill is called an instant read thermometer. Now, these come in a ton of different price ranges, a ton of different read times, but really the key indicators for a quality thermometer are going to be a housing that avoids getting wet or damaged, because you're going to be using this usually in heat or in the elements, and kitchens can be a wet place anyway. I like to have something with a large digital readout that reads quickly, so when my hands are over a hot grill, I don't have to worry about burning my knuckles. And
LED light.
Todd likes the LED light.
It's nighttime sometimes.
Sure. Find something with those features in your budget and you'll be well on your way to making better barbecue. Now, when it comes to using one of these to actually tracking the internal temperature of your food,
Watch where you're swinging that thing.
Sorry. Now, there is a little bit of a science to using one of these thermometers properly. If you stick it in too far or too shallow, you're not gonna get the most accurate reading. So what you wanna do is stick it in as far as you can. It'll usually read a pretty high temperature, and then slowly pull it out. The lowest temperature reading you get as you pull it through your piece of meat is the temperature that you're using as your guideline, your baseline throughout your cook. Every protein has a different recommended target temperature for food safety and doneness, and these recommendations come to us from the USDA. They've done testing to let us know when a food reaches a certain safety point that any potential harmful bacteria will be killed off. Now, these are recommended guidelines, and we know from personal experience, restaurants, cooking at home, a lot of people choose to, maybe take their steaks a little bit under the recommended guidelines. What we're gonna do is walk you through what the USDA currently recommends so you can make the best choice at home for you and your family. Todd, are you ready for a little pop quiz?
No? Yeah, sure.
Okay, internal temperature for chicken.
165.
Beef.
203.
Brisket.
Oh.
Burgers.
165.
Pork.
145.
Fish.
145.
Nailed it.
Oh, sweet.
So I know Todd was joking with giving me two different temperatures of beef, but it's a really good point. Different cuts, while they may be food safe at a specific temperature, are actually better at higher temperatures than are recommended. Beef brisket or beef ribs, for example, tend to be better above 200 degrees, but you would never cook a ribeye that high. If you wanted to take a steak to medium doneness, you'd be looking at 145 degrees, for example, or burgers to 165. Same thing goes for chicken. 165 is the minimum number for safety, but I prefer taking those fattier cuts like chicken wings and thighs up to 175. Pork, same thing. Tenderloins, chops, 145 is fantastic, but if you have ground pork, 165. If you have a pork shoulder that you want to fall apart and shred, again, 200 plus degrees. So it's good to have guidelines, but it's also important to know the different temperature target points for the type of meat that you're cooking at home.
So what about resting your meat or carryover cooking?
That's a really good point and something we should address, because just because we have a recommended finished target temperature doesn't mean that's when we take it off the grill. So when something's cooking, it starts to slope up like this if you're tracking the internal temperature on a graph. And just because you take it off the heat doesn't mean that that upward slope suddenly drops off. We're actually going to have carryover cooking, where the momentum from your cook pushes the internal temperature of your meat typically an additional 5 degrees after you take it off the grill or smoker. The higher you're cooking, the higher temperature you're cooking, The larger spike you'll see, the lower temperature you may only see 2 or 3 degrees, but pulling your meat off a couple degrees before its finished temperature, letting that carryover happen, and then swinging that into the rest period where your meat starts to drop down a little bit will give you the best results. Your meat won't be overcooked, things will stay juicy, and you'll get all of the moisture and tenderness and flavor that you want in your final product.
Because if you pull it off out like chicken breasts at 165, it'll continue cooking up above 170 and it'll dry out.
Yep, you can end up with dry or overcooked food if you pull it off right at that target temperature while it's still on the grill. Now, a digital thermometer really is a small investment for a big return. Knowing that your food is cooked properly, knowing that you're serving your guests food that's safe to eat, but also juicy and delicious is, in my opinion, totally worth the investment. Grab a thermometer, head outside, start cooking barbecue for the people you love, because really, that's what it's all about at the end of the day.